Welcome to Kaji's immersive listening experiences on the topic of self-determination. Discovering self-determination and connecting with your inner self can be a transformative journey that helps you lead a more fulfilling life. Over the years, scholars, researchers, and psychologists who have studied the essence of human motivation have proposed various theories, taxonomies, and methods to understand and predict future behaviors and social outcomes. Many of the theories have withstood in time through disputes, constructs, analysis, and paradigm shifts, placing some of the tested concepts as grand theories, mini-theories, and emergent theories. The distinct self-determination theory has indeed been one of the few that has served as an anchor point for important research, suggesting that human motivation requires specific innate psychological needs and that it is dependent on social contextual conditions. Developed over the past 4 decades by motivational psychologists Edward Deci and Richard Ryan, the SDT focuses on the types of motivation rather than the amount of motivation, and on the distinction between autonomous motivation versus controlled motivation. So let's dive deeper into what is autonomous motivation. Autonomous motivation refers to motivation that comes from within an individual, the so-called intrinsic motivation. It is driven by personal interest, values, and a sense of autonomy. That means that you engage with activities that you inherently find enjoyable, interesting, and meaningful. Controlled motivation, on the other hand, is motivation that arises from external pressures or rewards. The so-called extrinsic motivation, which is driven by forces such as rewards, punishments, or social expectations. You know that feeling when you engage in activities primarily to obtain external rewards or to avoid negative consequences. Understanding the difference and considering the self-determination theory, we can assume that intrinsic motivation can lead to higher levels of personal growth, success, and overall well-being. In life or within the work context, when individuals are deeply immersed in the activities they perform by choice, not only do they produce better outcomes, this deep engagement with the activity also produces joy, meaning, happiness, and purpose. In contrast, controlled motivation, feeling pushed, pressured, or obliged to do something, can not only lower your chances of positive outcomes, but it can as well significantly impact your level of intrinsic motivation. Yes, there is such a thing as introjected motivation as well, where you do something because you feel it is the right thing for the whole, avoiding guilt and internal discomfort, or adding to it. But at what price? For example, you consistently work late and take on extra projects at your job, not because you find the work fulfilling, but because you want to earn the approval of your boss and colleagues. Your motivation is driven by the need for external validation and the fear of negative judgments if you don't meet their expectations. Or when you go to the gym regularly, not because you genuinely enjoy this type of exercise, but because you're concerned about how others perceive your appearance. Your motivation to work out stems from a desire to meet societal standards of beauty rather than a true passion for fitness. See, self-determination stemming from intrinsic motivation is often seen as the golden egg of existence because it combines 2 powerful and harmonious elements, joy and hard work. Here's why this combination is so valuable. Intrinsic motivation is closely linked to resilience. When you face challenges or setbacks, the joy you derive from the activity can help you persevere. You're more likely to bounce back from difficulties because your motivation is deeply rooted in personal satisfaction rather than the external rewards. When you're self-determined through intrinsic motivation, the quality of your work often improves and it is joyful. You're more likely to pay attention to detail, take creative risks, and go the extra mile because you genuinely care about the outcome. There is openness, willpower, creativity, and self-love. You don't worry about the punishments, rewards, or expectations. You are in your flow of self-expression. But it is also very important to recognize what you are self-determined for. Are you making moderate decisions where you are not compromising over your health? Some commitments can become exhausting, especially when we are off our internal beaten path of self-expression, where lack of authenticity and joy are not present. This verse by Tao Te Ching may be helpful. Which do you value more, your wealth or your wellness? Which is more harmful, to lead or to lose? The greater your attachment, the more bereft is your release. The more you hoard, the less is left to enjoy. Those on the path of the great integrity flow without forcing, leaving space for disasters. We all possess different levels of growth tendencies which appear in different life stages and moments. But sometimes, our self-determination can also be unhealthy, as it can lead to rigidity, where you become inflexible and unwilling to adapt to changing circumstances. Overcommitment. Some people with strong self-determination may take on too many responsibilities or goals, leading to burnout and decreased overall well-being. Perfectionism. People driven by self-determination may set exceptionally high standards for themselves. While this can lead to excellence, it can also result in unhealthy perfectionism and a constant fear of failure, and negative impact on mental health. In some cases, the pressure to constantly meet self-imposed expectations can lead to stress, anxiety, and even depression. So, once in a while, we have to evaluate our self-determination and our choices. Practice consciousness and constantly aim to have a good sense of awareness, evaluating your personal determination and the impact it has on you. In its good form, and for good reasons and with balance, self-determination will enhance your personal growth and enrich the quality of your life, making it a valuable and sought-after state of being.